think this inconvenient life has been kind of nice. It's given us a lot more time to ourselves and
time with each other.
Time with each other.
I am on my way to go see my brother in his wife's tiny house, or more like to show you because I already know what it looks like. It's about 5 minutes from where my tiny house is, and is about a 10-minute walk, located on a like a farm where both my brother works and his wife, Melissa. Their trailer is 4 feet longer than mine. They built theirs about 1.5 feet shorter, so it doesn't go up to the max height.
Alright, welcome to Melissa and Andrew's tiny house. You can see it's blue with white trim. It's taken us over 1.5 years now to build. And let's just start by telling you that we started by purchasing the flatbed trailer that you can see. It was custom designed by Heavy Hauler, which is a local place. And they gave us a good deal because we were one of the first people to purchase it for our tiny house. They made extra walls and things like that to help us build the house. Then we spent a whole bunch of months after that building a basic structure on top of that. And you can see with that structure, it's over 13 feet high on the high side, which is right here, and on the other side, it's about 1 foot shorter. We kind of have it. That's whatever the slope ends up being. We made it 1 foot higher on one side, and you can see the way we tried to have it towed here was so that it could be facing more south as much as possible, and the way we ended up was not south at all. It's more west actually. But we can always change that if we got a tow truck and just change the angle. So it's not a huge deal, and of course we don't have the solar system set up yet, so can't really take advantage of the solar panels anyways. But right now we have 3 solar panels that are mounted by brackets on the roof. There's 3 of them, and they're each 160 watts. And they're wired in parallel, so that would give us 480 total watts if we were to actually set up the panel properly, or the whole system properly. The vinyl siding is what we used. It was very easy to install, and it was much less expensive. I know it's not the most environmental thing, but in the end we had to choose with something, and so we went with that. The windows were mostly purchased from not the Restore,
Bargain Outlet,
but the Bargain Outlet, which is close to there. So we got some actually pretty good deals. It was probably like a lot of the things were like half off at least. So you can see we got this door from there, which is a little dented, but it was fine. And we got this. This is the bathroom window, and we actually installed this upside down to start because I didn't know what I was doing. I don't install windows, so we installed it upside down first, and then we realized, oh, these poles were for a reason, is to help if there any water that got in the window could come out. So we had a crazy day where we punched it out of the wall, and then we flipped it over and we put it back in. And now we haven't really had problems either way, but now at least we feel good about it. It's properly installed properly.
Yeah.
We have 2 of these. These are the loft windows, and those have screens in them, which is nice. I guess so does the bathroom window. Not all of our doors and windows have screens, so it's nice when you can open it up and not worry about bugs, especially during the summertime. Obviously it's middle of January, so we're not going to have bugs at this time. The top of the roof is metal, and it's just like, these are cut pieces of the roof right here. And all of this stuff right here is to make an enclosure for the generator that you hear in the background. It's running right now. It's a 4,400 watt generator, and that's how we get our electricity right now. It's a gasoline generator. It uses 4 or so gallons of gasoline at a time, and it provides for all of our household needs, so it's good. We've got that metal, and we bought these little flashing pieces to go up there, and you can see, it's a little hard to see actually, but we put some synthetic foam underneath the flashing on the roof, and the idea there was to get some like cross ventilation, so it allows the air to come up through the synthetic foam. We left a little gap in the insulation in the roof so that the air can go all the way across the roof to the other side and come out, because it's the same on the other side. There's some synthetic foam. See our wood pile here. This started as a cord, and the cord was delivered sometime in November. So if we say count November as half of a month, then we could say we've had it all December and half of January. So we've had it for 2 months already, and we have what, a month and a half left. And you can see it's a little over halfway used, and we've slowly been able to incorporate new ways to make burning more efficient, such as putting in a damper and like putting it like better ways of starting a fire and closing the damper at the end of the night when it's stopping, you know, the flame is stopped. So we'll see how that goes, but it seems to be working really well. That's like the one thing that's like, it's really working out here. There's no electricity, we don't really have running water, so it's helpful to have all that wood. So this is one of the things that we are really excited about actually for the future. We have this huge sliding glass door. We have an insulated curtain that's behind it, and we kept that just because of the heat. And so hopefully when it comes summertime, we can take the insulated curtain off so that we can get more light into the house. And we can also plan on building a deck that would be attached by hinge down here. Come out like enough of an area so you can come out here to do yoga if you wanted. Any yogas out there, you know, like that. I'm not sure what pose it is, but Melissa's more into yoga, but I'm learning. So that's the idea, and then you can fold it up all the way up against and hook it up against the window, so that if we were to, and hopefully it's lightweight enough that if we were to move it, that it would actually protect all this glass from any rocks or any kind of things that would crack it if we were on the road. Chimney up here. Okay, so welcome. This is the first time that we've had the interior like pretty thoroughly videotaped. So you can feel pretty special that you're watching this video, because we haven't really allowed anyone to see the inside very much. We haven't really given any tours, and so this is like the first time that we've really given kind of like an in-depth explanation of what's going on inside. So I guess the first, like, most proud thing that we like to talk about is our stove. So we have a friend who let us borrow their stove that they didn't need for the winter time. So for this winter we don't have our own stove. We borrowed this one, so we'll have to get a different one next year. But it is a Scandia, I believe 150, which was the company that used to be what is now Yodel. So those Yodel stoves that you see, this is an old kind of Yodel when they were called Scandia before that. Now, there's 3 fire bricks in there, which don't really make a difference. We're planning to get some soapstone, which is more effective. It's supposed to be much better at holding the heat in, because that's our main problem. If you think about a tiny house, all the walls are exterior. We don't have any interior walls, so the heat will just dissipate through the walls much easier, and that's all we have. So we try when we're done at night and there's no more real flames, it's just kind of coals, hot coals. This is the damper, and to close it you go like this. I installed this probably a month ago now, and it's been helping a lot with keeping the heat in. And you can see we're a little below the burning zone here, but for a while we were above, and it's critical to be in the burning zone as much as possible, because that way it helps prevent the creosote, or however you pronounce that, build up inside of the flue pipe. Here's my wife Melissa.
Hello. And
the two of us live in here right now, and as I said, with no running water, and with, what else don't we have? We don't have electricity. We don't really have solid electricity, so every time we need electricity we need to turn on that generator that you hear in the background and plug it in. So yeah, and Melissa can tell you about her rebounding and other things that she does in the house.
So this is our rebound. We exercise in our tiny house also.
So cool.
We have some things, exercise and health is really important to us, so we just got this rebounder. I've been wanting a rebounders for so many years now, since 2013 when I went to the Woodstock Festival.
It just fits.
Perfect. Done.
Look at that.
And Andrew has been benefiting from the rebounder too. Obviously we have a lot of fun. but I've been wanting it because it's really good for your lymphatic drainage and it's a fun way to exercise. And I don't really like exercising. I mean, some people love it, but I don't. So I'm trying to find a fun way to do it, and this is really fun for me. We also have a pull-up bar.
So the pull-up bar here is awesome, and I'm really proud of this because this was an idea that we had to actually make before we finished paneling all the inside of the house, because we needed to make it sturdy, and for that reason it needed to be bolted with a really strong bolt into the framing, into the 2x4s that made up the walls. So we actually had to put the bolts, put holes on either side where the bolts were so that we could have this swing rope, which is really secure, and we put these like steel pipes that are really big, and we put those on. And what's really, really awesome is not only can you hook this up out of the way so that, you know, no one's gonna hit their head if they're too tall and they come in the tiny house and they don't know, but also it's adjustable. The whole rope thing there is adjustable. So if you were to take our step ladder, which is right over here, which we bought, which is huge because we have certain places that are really high, like for storage, that we can't reach. So it's huge to have a step stool.
Especially
for those, especially because Melissa's a little shorter and she especially can't reach certain places. But this whole piece up here is adjustable, so I can pull it down if I want it to come up higher or lower. I mean, it only goes so far, but I think it's cool that it's adjustable. And so you can see this is really awesome. I've been doing exercises on this for a little while now, where I can, you know, just do some pull-ups like that. I'm not trying to show off, I'm just trying to show you how it works, which is pretty awesome. And of course,
we also originally wanted this because we have inversion boots.
That's right.
And, and they just hook on.
Yeah.
And then you hang upside down.
Yep.
And it's really fun. We have insulated curtains that we made. They have like the foam inside because it was really, really cold for us last winter. We were sleeping in here. We didn't have it quite as done as we have it now, but it was really cold and we realized the window was leaking a lot of air. So we made these, but they can push to the side and then you can get a lot of light in here. Right now, since it's winter, we don't really open it up at all. But in the summertime, we're gonna probably take these down and then put different curtains so we can open it up and get air, because it's gonna get hot and it'd be nice to have a cross breeze.
I wanted to be as safe as possible in here, so you can also see right behind over here, we actually have a fire extinguisher, brand new right here, and we have a carbon monoxide detector that will actually give you a reading if there actually is carbon monoxide. Additionally, we have, just in case we're stuck upstairs and there's a fire down here and we can't get to that fire extinguisher, we have a second one right here, and we have a smoke/carbon monoxide detector up here as well. So I feel like we're pretty like overkill set for like safety in terms of the wood stove, and so I'm feeling pretty good about that. Especially because I'm a firefighter, so I feel like I need to be extra responsible. I don't want any fire people having to come here. Alright, the computer station is messy right now, but it's much cleaner than it was. And the idea originally was to have a standing computer station. And as you can see, we kind of filled up the shelves with whatever we need to put up there right now. But we're eventually, hopefully, going to put some kind of a bookshelf down here. And these are just our laptops. This is my ham radio gear. And we've stored some kind of supplies up at the top.
This is our bathroom. As you can see, we used a trough for our tub because I really like taking baths, especially certain times of the month. So we haven't really used it yet because we don't really have plumbing, and we also made a composting toilet, which we don't really use because we're not supposed to right now because we live on a property and they want us to use the outhouse over there, so we go over there to go to the bathroom, which is a little inconvenient, but it is what it is. But it's nice that we have a little bathroom here. We have like a little mirror and we have all of our supplies like essential oils.
This is like kind of a way of making use of all this space inside of the wall.
Eventually we're gonna have a shower, a gravity-fed shower coming down this way. That's what the start is of the pipes. So hopefully one day we'll have that working so we can take showers more regularly, I guess.
Here's just all of our essential oils and toothpaste, toothbrush, kind kind of just general stuff. We haven't really organized it that well yet, but one thing that is working really well is if you look directly behind you, we got this awesome magnet. And we didn't, like, this is my idea, and I kind of just, it kind of just worked out, which is where anything that's metal, like self-care stuff, like nail clippers and things like that, just go right on here. Like they're, you know, how many people lose their nail clippers? So it's like, anytime you're done with them, you just stick them back on the magnet bar, and it works out really well.
And then lastly, our kitchen.
And our kitchen.
We just did a shop, so we have a lot of produce right now.
Yeah.
I'm soaking our lettuce to make it alive because it was droopy a little bit, and our broccoli got a little droopy. So I just cut the ends off and put them in water, and they're just sitting there. They feel a little more firm.
It comes back to life, and it makes
does.
it much better.
And then we have all of our spices. Hopefully soon we can get some shelves up because that would
all
just
this space
be so helpful
to make storage. Of course, this whole piece right here, this flips up because this is a whole chest freezer, about 7 cubic feet or whatever, and it lifts up because this piece of the counter is cut right here, so this whole piece is on a hinge. Of course, we have fruit everywhere, so I'm not going to lift it up right now, but that's why we wouldn't have like necessarily too much more shelving here, because we need the space to lift this up. We might put more hooks for bananas and things like that up there, but the shelving is going to go over here.
Yeah, and also cabinets down here. So the dehydrator eventually we want to put on wheels so we can pull out from underneath here, so that's a little bit more easy to maneuver. And it's just kind of our miscellaneous things right now down there, like cups that we don't really use right now. But we're hopefully we'll have cabinets soon, so that we can store things more organized and be able to better access them. And then we have our beautiful sink, which we can't use right now. It's not plumbed yet, but it's really great because eventually what we want to do is be able to soak some of our veggies, like we have like the lettuce and the broccoli, because we don't have really good refrigeration. And I know, like, from working in produce at places, you can soak it in water and then they kind of stay alive a little better and longer. So we can do that hopefully soon. And then we have our miscellaneous things. We have our Vitamix, our food processor, cutting boards, our Berkey filter, and then we have like a little fridge, which we don't really have anything in right now.
The outlets, so you see, there's one here, and there's one over here, and there's a couple down below too. But we decided, because the kitchen is where we have a lot of our big electrical suckers, so like the Vitamix or like the dehydrator or the rice cooker, will be plugged in. So we thought, well, let's make this on a separate circuit, this on a separate circuit, so that way if something blows, that didn't like shut off all the circuits. So basically it makes it really easy to manage, like if a circuit were to be overly used. So I thought that was cool, and you can see if I open up this really quickly, these are the 7 circuits, and they're all described in with our little label maker for our main shut off. And then one of the other things that we tried to do was to make it so that the upstairs, there's a couple outlets upstairs, so that I mean, even for the whole house, that we can shut off the electricity if we want, because that way the kind of electrical emitting radiation that comes off of having electricity just sitting in the wires, it's better if it's off, because then you won't have that kind of radiation like being exposed to you while you're in your house. You can see over here, this is the non-working solar system readouts that we have, and the reason this is on is because the generator is on. If I were to shut the generator off right now, it would turn off, and the reason I have it unscrewed from the wall right now is because we're still figuring out what's wrong with it. But you can see this tells you how many volts is running through the system right now. It's 14.1, which is fine, but that's the generator, and it's not the batteries that we have, because the batteries are ruined, so we have to get different batteries. This shows the battery charge state, and of course that's false because it says 100%, but we don't have good batteries right now, so it doesn't matter that it says 100%. And then this is actually coming off of the solar panels right now, but again, this readout is, from what I understand, false, because the solar panels are only going to collect sun energy if the batteries need it. And if the charge states 100%, then I think the solar panels aren't supposed to be collecting anything until the battery loses charge. And so that's part of my theory why I haven't seen, because this really should go up to like 20 something amps, I think, from the 3 panels that we have. I'm not exactly sure, but at least should be like 7 to 15 or 20. So like, I don't know, it shouldn't be 0 or 0.1, so that's just way too low. So anyways, if you were to turn this on, I mean, it won't turn on because the batteries are not working properly, but it would tell you the amount of volts that the battery has on this, in this column. It tells you the power that you're currently consuming. And so like if I were to turn a light on simultaneously with the rice cooker, then they would probably go up with the power. And then these other lights here are basically telling you on the right hand side what the settings of the inverter are and how the inverter is doing. If it's all green, and it means it's fine, it's working. And the ones on the left are all of my safety shutoffs. So the whole solar system we bought has a ton of safety, like backup systems. And so if it's over voltage or under voltage, it will shut off automatically. And so this whole solar system is really robust. It was a little under $4,000, just to put it in perspective. But when we have it going, we have a 3,000 watt inverter, and so we have a lot of potential to expand on what we're able to do. So we could have, like, you know, 6 or 8 batteries at a certain point once we get the batteries up and running, and we could fill up our entire roof with solar panels and be able to bring in a lot more energy. But right now it's not working because we're still figuring out to make sure that the whole system has been properly wired. And so we were just recently grounded the house, which was huge because we only had it grounded to the trailer, which wasn't proper because then that has wheels which don't properly ground because then that insulates the house. So now we feel much better that it's been properly grounded, and yeah, that's where the solar electric is at.
And then we have storage underneath our stairs.
So this also is going to be, you want to talk about that, Melissa?
Well, right now we have like our hanging clothes that are falling because we have a lot of other stuff underneath there too. But eventually we'll have it a little bit more organized, and this is actually going to be where our folded clothes, we're going to have drawers that pull out. But right now it's storing like more exercise things like our yoga mats and yoga blocks and things like that, and miscellaneous crafts like crayons and pencils. And then we have our knitting under here, as well as Andrew created this.
This is kind of our organization
for our
important
papers.
So even in a tiny house, organization can get really out of control. And so I was passionate about keeping this like in control. And so I looked up this special system that's called SMED Viewables. There are 3D tabs that you can see on every side what it is that you're looking at, and you can color code them based on what they are. So you've got like your income, your bills, your special project, or not your special, but your resource things, like your car, your tiny house, and like so on, like what you're involved in, all these things like health and other documents. So like you can just go through, you can see what you want, and then you can like get the paper that you need to pull it out. And so it's really nice, and it's a pull-out drawer, and we keep anything that's really important like in the front so we don't lose track of it. So that's huge, and we've been using that a lot.
We use a down alternative comforter, and we do have an alpaca blanket. It was a present. We don't sleep on a mattress, we just sleep on the floor. Like right now we actually have just like a sleeping bag and then the floor. So that's it, because it's actually healthier for your back to sleep on a hard surface and sleep on the floor. So we sleep on the floor pretty much, and yeah, it's really comfy for us and we like it, and we don't have to buy a mattress, which they can be really expensive. Which is one of the things we want to keep our costs down for the tiny house. And then we have a little light here, which is nice at night. And as you can see, we opened up the windows because it's actually really hot in here right now. As you can see, I'm wearing like a short sleeve shirt, which I would never wear because I'm always cold. But it's actually really warm in our tiny house because, as you know, heat rises and the stove actually heats up the house really well. So it's really nice. And if you look behind you, we have a huge water tank.
It's a 65-gallon tank. It's actually way too big for what we need, which I had no idea. I've never like used a gravity-fed tank or had to do that, and so What we probably could have gotten is like almost half of that size and still been fine.
Which we might still do,
but
actually.
We might still do that,
because
so we'll just see.
It can be really heavy, and right now we don't have it supported correctly.
Yeah, the way this is all framed, there's no way it would hold an entire 65 gallons of water. It would totally just
fall right through.
Fall right through it. Most likely. I mean, I don't know. I'm not the scientist or the builder out there, so I don't really know what weight it would take to make this whole thing fall down. But we would probably, at this point, if we were to use it, we'd only fill it like halfway or a little more, depending on how we felt about it. But we would eventually want, once we have it set up, to have a pump so you can bring water here, have it pumped probably through an electrical pump up into this little opening here as you take the cap off, and that way we could fill it up, and then the whole thing would be the whole pipe comes out right here, and it will go down. This is the shower right here, and it will go over to the sink. And I'm still brainstorming ways to make hot water work, but we're either going to use the wood stove, or we're just going to get an instant, like on-demand hot water heater, like one of the ones you find on Amazon, that would hook up to water and hook up to electricity, and maybe even use propane. Who knows?
We pretty much, you know, camp every day, and we have a little bit more things than the average camper in a tent, but it's pretty much glorified camping, which is okay with us because, you know, we're not very picky, but it's nice to have our own space in like a really beautiful place. I don't know if you can hear over the generator, but we have a stream right outside our door, like outside of our house, and you can hear it. It's really nice at night when you go to sleep. If it's too hot in here, we'll open the windows and you can hear the stream going, and it's really nice.
The total cost has to be between, like, I don't know, we haven't added up
grand,
we
right?
haven't added up the bills in a little while, but we were getting close to 20,000 last time we had like added it up. We were like between 15 and 20, and my guess, since all the different things that we bought, and we put up the stove, which was like 1,000 or so, whatever it was, like, it was over 500, and so like if you add up everything, it's probably between 25 and 30,000 now, which is kind of expensive, but you know, like we almost own it. So because we basically used, you know, credit cards and income to try to put it all together. So it's approaching 2 years now that we've been building this, and we're excited to have the weather warm up again, because then we can put the finishing touches on the house. But obviously it's the middle of winter, so we're kind of just getting through the winter at this point. I think this inconvenient life has been kind of nice. It's given us a lot more time to ourselves, and
time with each other.
And it's fine because both of us enjoy this kind of lifestyle. And
we also don't want or need more, like that much more space, especially right now in our lives. We don't like have tons of kids or anything like that. So I think if we had kids, maybe it'd be a little bit different, but who knows, maybe we would have just kids in our tiny house, and we'll see how that goes. You know, people might think we're a little crazy, but you know, whatever works for us, and right now this is really working, and it's really actually kind of fun, even though there's frustrating points, you know, when you're just like, I just wish I had running water right now. I suppose we could use the stream, but right now it's really cold, and it'd be nice to be in your house using water. But we're excited for the summer to come, because it's been feeling like spring is coming, even though it's really early.
The house has been taking a really long time to build, but on the other hand, it makes every single little step that you do that's significant, that you know that works, that much more of like a highlight of that day. It's like, it's a really long building process, and it can be really, really, really frustrating, because every single piece of the way you're having to put it all together and figure it all out yourself. But that makes every single little step that much more special and rewarding, because you know you figured it out, and you know that if anything ever were to happen to that little piece, that you know exactly what needs to happen to fix it. And so, for example, we just put in our grounding rod, which was like an 8-foot long rod, because we weren't properly grounded as a house. And so the fact that went in really smoothly, we weren't sure, because there's a lot of rocks around this area, and the fact that it's in the middle of the winter, the ground's possibly frozen. But I was talking to one of the farmers, and he was saying that he doesn't think that it's been frozen consistently enough to make the ground that hard that I wouldn't be able to get a rod in. So I borrowed one of their post pounders, and sure enough, it went right in. You can actually watch our latest YouTube video, and it'll explain how I did all of that. But that just felt really good to have it in, and to have the house and the generator properly grounded, like knowing that's okay, this definitely works, and I did it, so I know exactly how to fix it if something breaks or something snaps or something comes undone. And that's kind of how the perspective and the experience that I want doing this is, to be able to fix something if something goes wrong. And I think that's part of the beauty of doing this project, is if you've done it all, then you can fix it and fix anything that happens.
I don't know. I think that covers it, you know? It's been an adventure for sure.